Well, it's that special time yet again. The time when we all gather around to laugh at Devin Tracy's moronic attacks on me. We've got a fresh AIU video to respond to. I'm sorry for putting you guys through this. It's called Spurgy Vegan YouTuber Ambushes Coach Red Pill. So multiple red flags here. Firstly, the fact that it's an AIU video about me. That just entails necessarily that it's going to be an incredibly stupid video. It's actually logically impossible. There is no possible world where this video isn't stupid. So we've got that, red flag number one. Then red flag number two, it's a video defending Coach Red Pill's debate performance when he spoke to me. So, I mean, either of those things are individually enough to completely sink a video, and here we have them combined into this monstrosity that we're all about to witness. I've only watched a little bit. I just caught the end of the video premiere. Now, go watch the Red Pill video so you have context. It's the one before this on my channel. It's pretty straightforward. He's in the Discord server Politics doing an AMA. I go in and start running Name the Trait. A question or two deep, he starts dodging. I hold him to the question. He keeps dodging. And then he bitches out and has me muted. So just a standard, level 0 total faceplant debate performance. That's what Devin is about to, presumably try to defend here. And then what do I want to say about AIU? AIU is just a giant pansy. He talks a big game. He loves to strike from the shadows, but this guy won't even step into a voice room with me, and it's because he knows that he's not got the agility. He'll just get cornered and fucking annihilated. So, if you want to prove me wrong, then go ahead and contact me. My links are all down below, or just do what we all know you're going to do, cuck into the shadows, maybe strike again if my video triggers you enough, but the offer remains open whenever you grow some balls. All right, let's get into the video. Here we go.
It is time to check back in on a person I will loosely describe as a man. His name, Isaac. His stage name, Ask Yourself. His mission in life? To convert you to veganism.
Well, we already have a false claim. I've never said that that's my mission in life, and even if we take a more charitable interpretation of what Devin's saying, like that's a major motivation behind my videos, it really isn't. I don't make videos with prospective vegans in mind. If anything, my content is more geared towards people who are already vegan, who want to, laugh at some bad arguments and explore the philosophy behind veganism. Now, I also want to point out, I'm not going to address every insult Devin makes. It's just boring to me. But any of the insults that seem to, say something substantive, like, that this is my goal in life, I'll respond to ones like that. Now let's keep going.
The problem? He sucks at it. He is, how can I describe him? A waifishly thin Holocaust survivor with a pencil neck, the testosterone level of a queef, and he looks like a cross between a Jim Henson Muppet and some sort of albino Somali. Add on top of that a goofy Canadian accent, and then just give up. I mean, it's a mess. But every once in a while, this cringy little bitch rears his head. He reared his head the other day. I was watching Vosh, the fat, gay, man-bunned communist, and Isaac drops super chat because the tubby degenerate was making fun of me, and he jumped in. I mean, it was macho as shit. He jumped into that mob of spurgs and added a little extra spurgery on top. Fucking fantastic. So that's what he does, is he tries to leech onto people who have popularity. Tried it with me, tried it with Vegan Gains, tries it with Vosh, and now he's trying to do it with Coach Red Pill.
It's not actually clear to me what Devin thinks leaching is, so I don't currently have a reply to that. He'd have to be more clear about what he means in order for me to know if I'm doing it or not, and additionally, if it's bad or not.
Coach Red Pill was on a Discord, a popular Discord, I think the Politics Discord, and he was doing an AMA. And wouldn't you know it, Spurg yourself, Isaac decided to ambush him, but Devin, with what?
I don't agree with the word ambush because that has negative connotations, but yeah, I did decide to go in there and challenge him about veganism and interact honestly with whatever he says in response. But a slight inaccuracy. Devin makes it sound like I just go in there and, sit around in the shadows and wait to strike or something like this. No, Devin, I actually get invited in there by the guy who runs the server, right? Doobie. He often invites me. He often invites Destiny. That's why Destiny was in that room the same day, right? It's because Doobie invites us in there because we're easily reachable on Discord, and he knows that we'll put up a good challenge to whoever's in there as the AMA guest.
Oh, Isaac, he's a true Renaissance man. He talks about a lot of stuff. Oh, that's right, the same goddamn bullshit arguments. So he views this as an opportunity for the cause. Yeah, brothers.
No, I can't say that ever crossed my mind. Again, I don't really go into these situations with this big motivation to do vegan activism. If that is a motivation I have, which, maybe it is on some level, it's way down the list. There's other motivations that are, way higher and that are going to have a way stronger impact on how I act in a situation like that. Now, I don't think I can give a good account of what my motivations are, and I think they probably change from situation to situation. I don't even think I'm always motivated by the same set of things to the same degree when I go into one of these conversations. I could just name some of the things that motivate me. One of them is curiosity. I'm just interested to see how these people will respond to my argumentation. Another is, if it's public figures, it's a good way to get eyes on my content. What else? I don't know. I also just enjoy debating. I find it fun. But I can't say that doing vegan activism is at all at the top of my mind. It's just wrong of you to say that.
We're going to turn the world into vegans. Hooray! And he has the same shit arguments. I dissected them a couple years back.
I mean, so you say, but you won't actually defend your dissection in a live conversation because you know that I tear it to shreds, don't you? You can repeat it if you want to, and I'll debunk it in this video. We'll see if you go through it again.
So I was interested to see if he has changed at all. And no, he hasn't. He's the same goofy-ass loser as he always was. Who's Coach Red Pill? I mean, this is a situation where it's a lose-lose. I mean, both guys are absolute dumpster fires. Coach Red Pill is some con man from America living in the Ukraine. He's a right-wing chud. I don't know how else to describe him, aside from the Pied Piper of incels. So he has gained popularity online by speaking to a disenfranchised group of men/losers who are seeking parental advice from an older man. And the glorious thing of it is they're taking advice about women from this fucking guy. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is the state of the people on the internet is just inexcusably stupid, befuddling. But okay, yeah guys, follow his advice, you'll end up like him. Good job. So he has video titles, amazing sense of visual design here. Let's take a look at some of these names. Chasing Indifferent Women. So he has warnings and tips about how to get this certain type of woman. Women don't want the truth, they want lies. A little fuck you to women there. Never discuss your relationship. He's a relationship coach. Fatalism and doing something. All right, so a huge part of his audience are all depressed because none of them get sex. It's kind of a black-pilled corner of the internet. Tattoos are a sign. Oh, I wonder if it's a good sign. No, it's probably a bad sign. They're shit. Women are shit. I made a mistake. Uh-oh, did you trust a woman? Did you start a shared bank account? What was that? Women lie to themselves more than men. So they're lying to everyone. Fuck women. Advice to young men raised by single mothers. Your mother was a dirty tramp, and she was lying, and she's a bitch, and probably has tattoos. Fuck her, and you should probably emancipate yourself from your family. When people confuse kindness with weakness, this is where he gets alpha, and you gotta be mean, you gotta be tough, you cannot simp. A warning to pretty girls. Oh my god, that's Coach Red Pill. An open letter to pretty girls, you're a piece of shit. Sincerely, a guy you'll never fuck. If you're thinking about suicide. Well, hey, disenfranchised incel men, here's one thing that men are better than women at: suicide. So hooray for team men. Here's a video called Shame Women. Here's one called Bros Before Hoes. After sex, the truth is revealed. Teach me about pillow talk, Coach Red Pill. Let's just be friends. Oh, he knows a lot about getting friend zoned, I guess. Okay. Here's a video called Women, 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 exclamation point. Oh, and here's one, Women Are Wonderful. And that is a compilation. It's a guest. They had a guest come on and do a video. And the guest was an even bigger douchebag than Coach Red Pill. And it's I Hypocrite, who is another fucking black-pilled incel who has major issues with women. And he doesn't think women are wonderful. He thinks they're pieces of shit. Because they're not with him. Because they don't want to be with him. And finally, here's one, The 1,000-Cock Stare. And they are making fun of the hypothetical woman who has been with 1,000 cocks. And she is dead inside, and she stares like a zombie. Okay, sorry, that's not the last one. Here's the last one. Incels are all right. What the No, they're not, dude. First of all, no, they're not. Second of all, good Lord, that is your market. Hey, incels, it's okay to be you because you're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, nobody likes you. Okay, so you have these two shit shows meeting on an AMA and trying to flex on each other in front of a crowd of people. It is tre imberioso. Let's witness.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and thanks, Grace, for asking the question. We've got a friend of the server on. Ask Yourself wants to ask you something. Actually, I think Ask Yourself, I think you can unmute yourself because you have the verified role.
Oh, okay, cool. How are you doing, Doobie and Coach?
I'm doing well. And for people who don't know, maybe Coach Redpill doesn't know, Isaac, or Ask Yourself, runs, I think, one of the largest vegan YouTube channels.
That is not true. It is not one of the largest.
Okay.
What the fuck? It is one of the smallest. It has 20,000 subs. Not even.
Well, yeah, it's not that big a channel, but I actually realized with these statements, like one of the biggest, one of the smallest, I actually don't even know, because to make those statements, you need to know, like, how many channels there are and how big those channels are, and then you have to see where yours sits relative to all that. So, I actually have no idea, but point is, it's just not that big a channel, and there's vegan channels that are a lot bigger by any means.
One of the largest.
Is the largest.
It's really.
Hey,
it's
you
really
gotta
not,
fake it
but
till you
okay.
make it, Isaac.
Yeah, it's huge. It's gigantic.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
bigger than China.
All right, so Coach, I'm just kind of here to do the only thing I ever do in politics, which is grill AMA guests about animal ethics. So I just ask you some questions.
Grill them?
As in, like, kind of like cross-examine, ask some questions.
Okay, so the next 5 minutes are going to be Coach Redpill trying to uncork a dad joke about how a vegan is talking about grilling, as if you can't grill things that are not meat. But, okay, it's ridiculous. Isaac is too socially inept to register the humorous attempt by Coach Redpill, and the following is the awkwardness that engendered.
Don't grill, like put them on the grill?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad thing, though.
No, yeah.
Just like when you like poke someone with some questions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is, at its core, a very repugnant and tiresome thing that the man is doing. He's coming into a public forum, and he's basically saying, I'm better than you.
Well, I'm not aware of any point where I said that, so if you want to suggest that it's implied, then you'd have to give some argument to that effect.
It's a male Anna Kasparian situation. He's morally agging on a dude because he's a meat eater, he's a carnivore, and Isaac is an enlightened vegan. It's boring, it's predictable, it's ineffective, it's obnoxious.
No. I was just the irony of the word choice that you used. But
okay. I thought you were doing what some people do, which is always very strange to me, which is take offense at the thought of someone grilling them, which I just can't wrap my head around that.
I neither can I.
Yeah, because
but you are a vegan and you want to grill me. Isn't that cannibalism? Isn't that against you?
Maybe
veganism?
metaphorically.
So there's Isaac really playing along with the joke. This is dry. This is maddening. Both of these men are dipshits.
Jesus Christ, man! You're quite the vegan argue. Yes, I'm vegan, but also cannibal.
Yes, metaphorical cannibal, which I don't think is going to contradict with veganism. So yeah, let me just ask you a few questions, and obviously, the idea here isn't to gotcha. I'm sure you haven't you don't talk about animal ethics, right? So it's probably not a topic you've thought through in detail, but maybe I can get you to think about it a little bit. So first question would be, if the animals who were currently holocausting were replaced with humans, presumably you would say that would be wrong to support.
Okay, so he is still attempting to preemptively win the argument by slipping in the word Holocaust without anyone making a protest.
I don't know what argument he thinks that I'm trying to win with the word Holocaust. There's certainly no syllogism on my mind at this point in the conversation. And it is a Holocaust. I'm just using the standard dictionary definition, which is destruction or slaughter on a mass scale.
What we currently do to animals is a Holocaust. It's a Holocaust. And you know why he uses that word? Because everyone's against holocausts, right?
Now, Devin has this bad habit of assuming he knows people's motivations. I can't say that I feel motivated to use the word Holocaust because people think holocausts are bad. I don't think that I can give a perfect account of my motivations, as I said earlier, but the kind of thing that comes to mind is just that that word seems to do justice to what's actually happening. It's kind of like an accuracy thing. If I had to, take a guess at what's motivating me to use it.
Totally right. So just refer to this as a Holocaust, and then everyone will be against it. The problem is, Holocaust is a word referencing one thing, and one thing only: the mass execution of human beings.
Oh, well, that's just straightforwardly false on the definition that I'm using. So, yeah. Wrecked by dictionary.
Now, Isaac knows that.
Now, I'm actually skeptical about knowledge, but as far as I know, belief is always taken to be a necessary condition for knowledge, and I don't even have a belief that it's the case that the word only applies to humans, so I certainly don't know it. In fact, I actually believe the negation of that proposition, that it's not the case that the word only applies to humans, and I'm certainly not a dialetheist.
But he still tries this technique, which really takes his weak bitch bullshit to the next level. He tries to hide behind the definition in the dictionary, which doesn't specifically say humans, even though the connotations clearly state that it does. The usage of that word is such that it only refers to human beings. That's how we use it, and that's what it means.
Well, not according to the dictionary, and what I care about is correctness with respect to the dictionary. I use the word to refer to destruction or slaughter on a mass scale.
And let us crack open the vegan agenda, because it's as true now as when I wrote it. So number 1 is debate me, bro, which is what he's doing right now. He would view this as a debate, even though he walked into it as, oh, it's a friendly conversation. Oh yeah, I just wanted to make you think about animal ethics.
Now, I think the criticism there is probably that I'm sending mixed messages. It's not clear if this is a debate or a discussion. So I guess if I had to clarify, the way that I would go into a situation like this is pretty open-minded, and whether it turns into a debate is really just going to be about how the other person responds to me.
And then he posts it on his channel. He comes across as the biggest geek Nimrod in the universe in this clip, and he still posts it on his channel. Because he's a debater, bro. Hey, Devin, why don't you ever debate me? Hey, everyone, debate me. Yeah, so we can go through the same stupid thing time after time. He is a clout-chasing loser. So number 1 is what he's doing right now, debate me, bro. But look at number 10. You are pro-Holocaust. Because you're a meat eater, which by definition means you're in favor of the animal Holocaust.
Well, no, there's obviously not a necessary entailment there. Of course, it's logically possible to eat meat and not be in favor of the animal Holocaust. I mean, maybe you're eating lab meat, maybe you don't understand what you're supporting, etc. It's not a contradiction.
So he walks into a conversation, presumably trying to evolve someone's position in regards to meat consumption.
Again, no, not necessarily. That's an outcome that I'm open to, though.
And he starts by saying you're pro-Holocaust.
No, I started by asking if the animals who are currently being holocausted were replaced with humans, would he be in favor of that Holocaust? That's a question. Would you be in favor of it?
Now, this stupid tactic of his will derail this conversation for the next 5 minutes. And Coach Red Pill, to his credit, notices what he's trying to do.
I don't think Devin has established what I'm trying to do.
And he doesn't let him do it. And what we're seeing here is also number 6, which is humans are no different than animals except for when they are different than animals.
Well, I would never say that humans are no different than animals except when they're different than animals. That seems like unclear language to me. What I would say is that they share some properties and they don't share some properties.
So, yes, there's differences. I mean, morally, kind of. There's biological differences for sure. I guess morally they see no difference.
Well, that's false on different levels. So firstly, you're generalizing vegans. They see no difference. There are some vegans that don't see a difference. There are some that do. I would suggest that most do. And I would just point out to you, Devin, as I think I've pointed out to you a few times before, if I remember correctly, okay? It's possible to think that two things are morally different. One is more valuable than the other. So, for example, if you had to save one or the other, you'd have a clear choice. But that both are sufficiently valuable that it's wrong to stab them. You understand that? Two things can have different levels of value, but both can have sufficient value that it's wrong to murder them. Just like two people can have different amounts of money, but both of them can have enough to buy a can of soda. I know this is hard, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Just try to use that brain.
But when it comes to the killing of animals, there can be no justifiable reason, and it's just like the indiscriminate killing of human beings.
Again, just another false claim. That's not a position that I hold. Of course there's justified reasons to kill animals. What if an animal's trying to attack you and you think that it's a serious threat to your life, right? So Devin, you should do your due diligence and make sure you at least have some idea of what my position is before attacking it. I guess you have some idea, but you're wrong in multiple areas, right? And you know a good way to clear this up? Real-time verbal conversation, but of course you know that would turn into you getting bodied, so you're not going to do that.
So animals are just like humans when I want to use the word Holocaust, but then in other ways they're different. But when I want them to be the same, they're the same.
Well, I don't like that phrasing because you make it sound like they're alternating back and forth between having identity and not having identity, right? That's not what I would say. It's not like they become identical, then become not identical, then become, like, I don't know what you're talking about, right? They share some properties and they don't share some properties. One of the properties that they share is that they're capable of being destroyed or slaughtered on a mass scale, thus making them the potential object of a Holocaust.
That the animals that are being slaughtered for food were replaced by humans, that would be wrong?
I'm just going to turn your volume up here a little quiet. Yeah, if we were to replace the animals that we're currently holocausting with humans, would you consider that situation, that human holocaust, to be wrong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God, Isaac, you're so 3D level chess right now. Holy shit. Look at him guiding us down this masterfully engineered argument.
Well, I know Devin doesn't know the first thing about logic, but there's not an argument currently on the table. No premises and conclusion have been provided.
Oh Christ. I know what Coach Red Pill's gonna say. He can only say one thing. Hey, Coach Red Pill, are you in favor of a Holocaust? Of humans? No. Oh, well, gotcha, because how could you be in favor of a Holocaust of animals? I mean, they're both Holocausts. And Red Pill's like, one is used for the harvesting of meat for consumption. One isn't. And also, humans are different than animals.
Okay, well, let's be technical about the question. What's being asked is what's true of the one that, if true of the other, would cause you to say that it's ethical to Holocaust them. Now, Devin's given two candidate answers. Let's look at what kind of nonsense they produce if we run them through the question. The first was that the beings in question are being used for meat. If humans were being holocausted and then eaten, would we consider that ethical? Presumably not, so I don't think that's the kind of answer that we want to give to name the trait, right? And this is the kind of reason why I say that when Devin tells you he's destroyed the argument, he has no fucking clue what he's talking about, and he would get humiliated in an actual debate. And I think that's probably why he won't debate me. Now, the second candidate answer that he gave there was that the beings are different than humans. Well, then all we have to do is make a small modification on humans. Let's say we give them all cowtails. They all still have the same kind of consciousness, though. It's the same minds in there. Well, they're different now, so it should be fine to Holocaust them. If you object to that Holocaust, then presumably we don't want to say the fact that there is a difference is the thing that makes it ethical to Holocaust the one but not the other. So I would suggest that most people would probably think that those two answers are absolute nonsense. And the animal Holocaust as it is right now, do you consider that to be wrong?
No, I consider it yummy.
Okay, so my question in that case would be, what is it that's true of animals?
Oh, God. Okay, now we go on to a Vietnamese friend of Isaac's that he brings into every conversation, and the man's name is Nam Trat. He comes from Saigon, and he owns a taxi. It's actually like a bicycle, but it has like a little carriage in the back. It's for tourists. And he brings up Nam Trat in every conversation he has every day of his life. They are best friends. What is Nam Trat? It is an argument that this doofus fuckboy has concocted, and he's asked it to everyone from Sam Harris to Stefan Molyneux to you name it. Every time out, he thinks, I got you now. I got you. It's been answered and debunked a million times.
I'm just going to remind you, when Devin says that it's been answered, it's been debunked, right? The kind of things that he thinks are good answers are answers like the fact that we're different, or the fact that the beings are being used for food. But we just saw where those led, right? Those go to complete insanity. It's ethical to Holocaust humans with cowtails, or it's ethical to Holocaust humans as long as you're eating them.
But this man is a dumb, dense, fucking pathetic shit. And hey, Isaac, I'm moving to Toronto, and I am officially banning you from the Greater Toronto area. You're not allowed in my city. So you stay the fuck up there in Guelph, and if I catch you in my city, there will be consequences.
Well, I mean, I'm in Toronto all the time. In fact, there's a really cute girl who I see in Toronto a little bit. So, you know, if you want to go out and get some food sometime, I'm happy to do that, and we can just have a rational conversation. But something tells me that you will not want to do that. My question in that case would be, what is it that's true of animals that, if true of humans, would cause you to say that it is in fact ethical?
Right, so now he's going to erase all differences between human beings and every single animal.
Again, that's false. It's a straw man. Of course, my view is that there are similarities and there are differences.
So you know how there's a spectrum? You know how fish are brain dead? You know how we don't eat a ton of animals because we find it morally reprehensible? There are reasons for that. There are reasons for the difference. There are arguments to be made as to which of those animals deserve to be on the good list versus the bad list. And I am very sympathetic to veganism and would love a world where we had more food options, more realistic ones, to supplement and ultimately replace what we currently have, which is a primarily meat-based diet. But people like this, Isaac is a loser. Isaac has no idea what he's doing. Isaac doesn't have an education. Isaac has no social charm. Isaac is not sexually successful in life. So he is not the guy for the job. Sorry. By the way, what is his job? What do you do? Oh yeah, so he's trying to say there's no real difference. Forget any unique moral consideration for your own species.
So that's a double straw man. Of course, I'm not saying that there's no difference, as I've already clarified repeatedly. And I'm also not saying that you can't have unique moral consideration for your own species. It's possible to have unique consideration for your own species and still consider both humans and animals wrong to murder.
Just give me traits. Give me traits. What's a trait that, if present in an animal, would make you not eat the animal?
Well, that's backwards. I usually go the other way. I would usually say, what is it that's true of the animal that, if true of the human, would cause you to say that it's ethical to Holocaust them?
And you can name all these traits. You can name sentience, you can name brain function, you can name humanity. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, and that's quite obvious to spot these differences.
Well, of course you could name those traits, but you might not like where they lead. If you were to say that sentience is the difference, you'd be saying that it's ethical to Holocaust people who are no more sentient than the animals that we currently eat. So that's going to lead to a disabled Holocaust. You probably, wouldn't want that. Brain function, right? Well, that's a kind of weird one because both human and animal brains are functional, but I assume we're just talking about what the brain is capable of doing, right? And it seems kind of like it's just going to be the same thing as sentience, right? If we say that we have a human brain that doesn't have any higher function than an animal, right? Again, we're just going to get a disabled Holocaust. And then if you say that it's humanity, now that sounds like a notoriously Weasley term, but if we just take like the standard kind of definition in biology, then all we have to say is that we modify humans just sufficiently that they can no longer breed. And even if their consciousness is identical, it's fine to Holocaust them, right? Unless you're actually in favor of a disabled Holocaust or a Holocaust of all of the minds currently in existence as long as they're in slightly genetically modified bodies, you probably don't want to give those answers. Yes, you can give them, Devin, but do you like where they lead?
But he doesn't accept any answer.
Well, it depends what you mean by accept. If by accept you mean personally adopt, as in I would start, saying that it's okay to Holocaust lower sentience humans, well, no, I don't think that's likely. But if by accept you mean grant that someone else's answer doesn't result in them having a logically inconsistent or false position, then sure, of course I would accept those answers, right? If you were to tell me that the difference is sentience and then actually tell me that you're, in favor of holocausting low sentience humans, I would accept that answer in the sense that I would grant that your position is logically consistent, and I wouldn't say that it's false.
So this is where he exposes his Aspergerism.
They're not humans.
The trait is humanity. That's a quick, abbreviated way to say it.
Right, so if your mind is transferred into a body that does not meet the criteria for humanity, is it okay to Holocaust you? If you say no, then the trait's not humanity. Okay, so what exactly makes someone a human? Are we just talking about genetics there?
So now we're going to play stupid. And now, what is a human? Is a fish a human? Well, what is it about the human that is different than the fish? So like a child, he doesn't accept the answer, and he goes deeper.
Well, again, Devin is just wrong and making assumptions about why I'm doing what I'm doing. No, Devin, I'm not playing dumb. The reason that I'm asking what he means by humanity, as many of my viewers will know from watching me debate and watching what happens when I don't do this, is that very frequently, when you ask someone what the trait is, they say that it's humanity, and then you give a reductio on beings that aren't genetically human but have identical minds to beings that are genetically human, is they'll respond by saying, well, those beings still meet my definition of human, right? Which implies that their definition isn't strictly biological. So it's useful to avoid going down that pathway and back to what do you mean by human by just starting by clarifying what they mean by human. It's a word that is notoriously frequently used for weaseling. So at this point, it's on my radar as something that I should just clear up before giving the reductio. That's why I'm going to it, not playing dumb.
How about talking? The trait is talking. If you can communicate in a sufficiently advanced way, we shouldn't eat you.
Again, it's just another position that's going to justify holocausting the disabled. There's people who are disabled who can't communicate on any higher level than the animals that we currently eat. Do you accept the disabled Holocaust or not?
Okay, but does that mean that a person who can't talk, should we eat them? No, it doesn't, because they're human beings, they are sacred, they're our own species, and we've deemed it immoral to eat our own.
Yeah, but now what you're having to do, because you don't want to accept the reductio on the position that the ability to communicate at an advanced level is the trait, right, which would be that it's ethical to holocaust the disabled people who can't communicate at any higher level than a cow, is you're having to add in more traits. So now it's the ability to communicate on an advanced level and being human and being sacred and being of our species. So let's find the reductio on that position. Okay, so not able to communicate at an advanced level, let's talk about disabled people. Okay, now they're still protected by these three other traits. Sacredness, no idea what that refers to. Until you give me some kind of conception of what sacredness is, I can't even process that, but we'll deal with the other two. Human and of our species. They're basically the same thing. One of them is just relative to whatever species Devin currently is, but he's currently a human. So we can get both of those off the table by saying we just genetically modify these disabled people such that they can't breed with normal humans anymore. Maybe we give them cow tails, they're a little different, right? Same minds though. What we get on that view, right, which is ability to communicate at an advanced level, being human and being of our species, we don't know what the fuck sacred means, is that it would be ethical to holocaust disabled people as long as we genetically alter them. All right, do you actually accept that, Devin? And if you don't, then don't tell me those are the traits.
Unnecessary and wrong. Okay, so are you saying that if dolphins could communicate with little clicks and stuff, then we shouldn't eat dolphins?
Well, it's not just about what you shouldn't eat, it's also about what's okay to eat. And if the trait is the ability to communicate on an advanced level, it's okay to eat disabled people. I want to know if you accept that. It's easy to say I don't accept eating dolphins. Do you accept eating the disabled?
Based off talking. Yes. Are you satisfied? I mean, it's one answer. It's not, he doesn't accept any answer.
Well, again, it depends what you mean by accept. If by accept you mean personally adopt, no, I've never heard an answer to name the trait that I would personally adopt. I'm not a moral lunatic, right? If by accept you mean grant that someone else has given an answer that they haven't been inconsistent about, and that they're not necessarily wrong for giving, then sure. I mean, it's easy for someone to give an answer that I'll accept. They could say the trait is intelligence, and they could say that they're fine with holocausting the disabled. I wouldn't say that they're inconsistent. I wouldn't say that they're wrong. I would just say they have values that I, and probably most people, would never be able to get on board with. The problem for you is that you don't accept the entailments of the answers that you give. So as far as I'm concerned, you've never actually given an answer that you've committed to the question.
But it's interesting as a thought experiment just to say, it's talking, dude. Fish can't talk, eat them. Whales can talk, don't eat them.
It doesn't seem very interesting to me. It seems like a standard level 0 carnist answer that justifies holocausting the disabled.
Sure, why not?
Okay. So let's say that we slightly modify people. They still have the exact same consciousness, but their genetics are slightly altered.
So this is, again, painfully moronic. He now is trying to come up with a scenario, the same way I just did, where I say talking. If a creature can talk, we shouldn't eat it. And then he comes back with this genius response. What if a human can't talk?
Well, no, that's a slight straw man of what I'm doing, but I don't even know if it's intentional. I think it's just because you don't know basic logic. So what you just said is, if X can talk, then you shouldn't eat X, right? I would never respond to that by saying, oh, well, I mean, this X can't talk, therefore it's fine to eat it, right? Because it doesn't follow from the fact that if X can talk, you shouldn't eat it, that if X can't talk, you should eat it, right? It could be that there's still X's in the can't talk category that you shouldn't eat for other reasons, right? All we know from that statement is that you shouldn't eat X if it can talk. This is why Name the Trait is framed carefully. Obviously, this is a carefulness that Devin has never appreciated. What we're asking is what's true of the one that, if true of the other, would cause you to say that it's ethical to murder them. Now, if to that question you were to say the ability to talk, then we can reply by saying, well, okay, so if humans weren't able to talk, would it be ethical to Holocaust them? If you said no, that would be a contradiction. If you said yes, we'd take that as reductio.
So now he's trying to say, what if there's a person that genetically is very much like a human, but isn't a human somehow? Can we eat him? It's like the most incredible waste of time, and this man is saying this in public, thinking he's onto a point.
So it's still the exact same minds of everyone currently alive. Their bodies could even look human, but we just changed the genes enough that they, can't interbreed, don't qualify, or whatever.
No, if they are very much human, and if they're almost exactly a human, let's say it's, a Neanderthal, we shouldn't eat Neanderthals.
Okay, so this point is a little bit nuanced, but the logic nerds will probably appreciate it. So technically a Neanderthal isn't a being that's available to you for reductio in the trait equalization process between a human and an animal, right? It's not like there's some combination of cow and human traits that yields a Neanderthal. So if you wanted to be really technical and run name the trait, you'd want to find a being that lacks humanity, presumably humanity is the trait that's been given, but that is in the trait equalization process, like a moderately genetically altered human that no longer qualifies biologically as a human. You can often use things like Neanderthals and aliens because they still kind of convey the point, but if we're being really technical, those actually aren't available to you. Now, on the other hand, if someone were to say that something is wrong to eat if and only if it's human, you could reductio that by pointing to a Neanderthal, right? And if at that point they said, well, it's still wrong to eat a Neanderthal, then you'd get a contradiction because a Neanderthal isn't a human.
And what he's describing, loosely, is a chimp.
No, I'm not talking about a chimp. That's way bigger of a change than I've made, right? You're like decreasing their cognitive faculties. You're doing a big transformation on their physiology. I'm talking about a being that looks just like a human and that has a subjective experience just like a human, but that genetically doesn't qualify as a human. If it helps you picture this, even though I'm not technically talking about a Kryptonian, you could picture a Kryptonian, right? A Kryptonian is a logically possible being who has different genetics than a human, looks like a human, and has a subjective experience that, for all we can tell, is identical to a human. Something much more like that than a chimp is what I'm talking about here.
He's a chimpanzee, and we should not eat chimps, and we don't, okay? I mean, but yeah, Isaac, you got him.
Well, that's not quite how the dialogue played out, but yeah, if he offered the trait humanity and then we gave the reductio of killing a chimp and he said that it's wrong to kill a chimp, we'd get a contradiction that it is and isn't the case that the trait is humanity.
Whatever trait they name, just make some retarded thought experiment and enter into an absurd scenario, dive down one of your spurgy-ass rabbit holes, and at the end of it, we're all vegan.
Well, that's false also. It's not the case that whatever trait is named, we're going to move into the reductio, the part with the hypothetical, right? If they were to say that the trait is being sentient at all, then we wouldn't move to reductio. We'd point out that that's not a differential property, right? So, no, it's not the case that whatever trait they name, we move to reductio. In that case, would you say that it's ethical to Holocaust everybody?
He's back to the pro-Holocaust. Man, such solid bedrock with that line of attack. Guys, if you're not in favor of Isaac and his dietary habits, you're a monster. You're a fan of Holocausting things. Everyone who doesn't agree with me is pro-Holocaust.
Nope, that's another straw man. I've never said that if you're not a fan of me and my dietary habits that you're a fan of Holocausting things. We can picture a logically possible situation where someone is not a fan of me, not a fan of my dietary habits, but just doesn't know about the animal Holocaust at all. I don't think that they can be in favor, like have an attitude of, approval or disapproval towards a thing that they've never heard of. So it's just obviously not a necessary entailment that being not in favor of me or my dietary habits, and if it's got to be means that you're a fan of Holocausts. I'd never say something like that.
Well, see, it's that you keep using the word Holocaust, right?
Inconceivable. You keep saying that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Now, Holocaust has the implication that you're executing people for no reason.
Look at the chat. Chat. And that is fish are brain dead. That's coming up in the Discord. That's my meme. There's a t-shirt. Go buy the shirt. And it's hysterical, and it's mocking these douchebags. And I'm pro-veganism. Oh, now Isaac is going to play stupid. No, Holocaust doesn't mean that. Isaac, Holocaust does mean that. When 99.9% of the universe thinks of one specific thing, Okay, it's beyond genocide. And notice he doesn't say the word genocide because that does have a human component in the actual definition.
Well, he's correct that I don't use the word genocide, at least not often, but it's not because there's a problem with using it. It's just for whatever reason not really a word that I go to. But yeah, I consider animals people, and genocide, if we just look at the definition, the deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or nation. Yeah, I consider animals people, so I would think that it's fine to say that we're talking about the animal genocide.
As in the deliberate killing of a large group of people. So he doesn't say the animal genocide, he says the Holocaust, which is destruction or slaughter on a mass scale.
Again, I'm fine with both.
Now, that's all well and good that your definition doesn't have the word people in it, but Holocaust is understood by everyone on the planet as meaning the killing of people, and specifically the killing of the Jews in the 1940s. That's what the Holocaust means.
Again, what I'm concerned with is correct word usage with respect to the dictionary. With respect to the dictionary, my word usage is correct.
So you can take your dorky geeking out session about the actual definition doesn't say humans and shove it up your fallopian tube, you Canadian cunt rag.
Right?
No,
but when
well,
we slaughter animals, we're slaughtering them for a very clear reason. We want to eat them.
Okay, so yeah, I'm against the eating of animals, so it doesn't really compute. Go back. What's my next line of attack?
Well, yet again, Devin is just inaccurately characterizing what was going through my mind during this conversation. I didn't hear Red Pill say, we kill animals for food, and then go, well, I don't kill animals for food. Oh, it doesn't compute. No, I mean, I assume he's referring to himself or people who eat meat generally. What I ended up saying was twofold, right? There was two things that came to my head. And I also, I didn't change to what's my next line of attack. I just explained how what he said interacts with the line of attack that I'm already making, right? I'm making one line of attack throughout this entire conversation. So the first point I made was just a little tangential, but worth mentioning, which is just that whether the killing in question is happening for a purpose or not, like food, that doesn't tell you if the killing is a Holocaust. And then the second point was just that whether it's a Holocaust or not, that's just not giving me an answer to the thing that I'm wondering about, which is if we have humans who've been altered genetically such that they no longer qualify as members of the species, but they have identical consciousness, does he think it would be ethical to slaughter them en masse? Okay, so there's two problems with that. So the first is just that what you said is false. Holocaust doesn't imply no reason. But the more important and the second one is that you didn't answer the...
No practical reason.
Yeah, not all reasons are created equal.
Whether all reasons are equal is orthogonal to whether the reasons for mass slaughter or destruction have to be bad in order for said mass slaughter or destruction to constitute a Holocaust. I think that someone would say that Hitler had reasons, right? But
okay, well, killing animals to eat them is a better reason than killing the Jews to rid your country of the Jews.
And whether the reasons for mass slaughter and destruction of Jews were worse than the reasons for mass slaughter and destruction of animals is irrelevant to whether said mass slaughters and destructions constitute holocausts. Presumably.
Yeah, but I mean, slaughtering an animal.
You won't look at the definition of Holocaust.
If you just want to keep on, you just keep on talking, or.
Oh no, that's just Isaac not understanding how to talk to someone. Oh yeah, but he's poning you in the debate because he talked over you. Yeah.
Do your own AMA, man.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Okay.
Like, the whole reason that we're slaughtering animals is to eat them. That's a direct, practical reason to do so.
Exactly. There is no direct, practical reason to kill human beings who are innocent because it's atrocious, it is murder, it's mass murder. Killing animals for the point of eating them is a different moral proposition.
Well, of course they're different propositions. I mean, it's hilarious that you think that I would contest that. I mean, hopefully you're not so silly as to think that I would contest that those are different propositions. But all of this stuff about the reasons being good or bad in one case or the other, that's all just completely orthogonal to whether those mass slaughters and destructions constitute holocausts.
Now, that is obvious to any normal human being. Isaac tries to forget those differences because humans are no different than animals except when humans are different than animals.
No, I don't try to forget that they're different propositions. They're obviously different propositions. Anyone with a basic understanding of logic would, of course, agree with that. And all of this, humans and animals are the same except when they're different. I don't like the phrasing. They have some shared properties. They have some unshared properties. That's my view. Okay. But did you catch both of my points there, though? Well, did you catch both of my points?
Look, I'll just tell you right now. I mean, if you want to be vegan, fine, okay? You want to convince me to be a vegan? I ain't going to do it. I love my animal protein, and I don't have a problem with the little lambs being slaughtered and eating, a rack of lamb. I'm fine with it.
Right, but
Veal too, for that matter.
Addressing my 2 points, though.
So he just went to, you can't defend your position. So basically he's saying, you're not addressing my point because my point is a series of argumentative traps and pitfalls that you have no escape from.
No, I haven't told him so far in this conversation that he can't defend his position, although I do say that in a bit when it becomes more apparent. Currently, all I'm saying is that he's not addressing the 2 points that I'm making. And as for the stuff about my point just being an argumentative trap, that just sounds like loose verbiage. Like, I don't really know what the criticism there is supposed to be. As far as I can tell, everything that I'm saying is true, and I'm exploring something that I want to, so I don't see what I'm doing that's problematic.
And Coach Red Pill is like, look, if you want to be a vegan, be a vegan. It's not working on me. You're unconvincing. You've said nothing. And Isaac's like, no, it's not working. What? Abort. So he goes into like ad hom bullshit.
So another bad characterization of what's going on by Devin. So firstly, this idea that I'm like trying to get Red Pill to go vegan. I'm going, oh, it's not working, abort, right? Like, again, I don't go into these conversations thinking my goal here is to make this person go vegan. That's a great outcome if that happens, but that's not what's on my mind. And I'm not sitting there going, oh, it's not working. It's just not on my mind, right? Now, abort, I don't abort anything. I'm staying on the exact same 2 questions, and I stay on them until I get muted, right? This is the whole thing that annoys some stupid people about me, that I persistently stay on the same question, right? So there's no aborting going on at all. I'm staying on the exact same 2 things, as you'll see in the conversation. And then the idea that I go to ad homs. Well, what I end up saying here, I actually don't think is an ad hom. I say, can you repeat to me, you guys are about to see this, can you repeat to me what my 2 questions are? That's just me trying to get him to acknowledge that I've actually said something to him and to respond to the thing that I've said, right? That's not even an attempt to, ad hom. And if ever you see me insult someone, I'm never using it in place of an argument, which is what I take an ad hom to be. I distinguish ad homs and insults. And this isn't even an insult, what I'm about to say.
Yeah, I am a human being, okay?
Red
I
Pill,
evolved
can you repeat my 2 points to me?
I don't even know what they were.
No one knows what they fucking are, you asshole. 2 points. He has it listed down. Guy has like notes. He's like, point 1, premise 1, established, done. Repeat back my 2 points. What are you, a parent? What did I say to you? Repeat back what I said. That's not a pop quiz, Isaac. Shut your fucking hole.
Well, there's nothing wrong with writing stuff down. I don't actually have this written down in this instance. We're not very deep into the conversation, so I can keep it in my head. But if it starts getting, convoluted and we start getting layers and layers down into the conversation, of course I'm going to start writing stuff down. As people who watch the debates that I record in Discord would know, I often write out what's being said. It's an easy way to, track the flow of the conversation if you actually care about that, which AIU doesn't. And this is my other point. The fact that you sit there saying, no one knows your 2 points, well, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, great. So you're not tracking the conversation. Thanks for making us all aware of that, Devin. And the 2 points are pretty straightforward, right? The first is just that it's irrelevant to whether something is a Holocaust, what the purpose is, whether the beings are being killed for meat, whether the reasons are good. What I'm referring to as a Holocaust is destruction or slaughter on a mass scale. All of that is orthogonal to whether it's a Holocaust. That's the first point. The second point is that whether it's a Holocaust or not is irrelevant to the thing that I'm trying to find out about, which is whether Red Pill would be comfortable holocausting those beings who are just genetically modified humans with identical consciousness. Those are the 2 points. It's really not that hard to keep in your head. Right. So you're just rambling.
Go ahead.
So I'm just going to make the points again. So the first...
Here they are, guys. It's rock solid. Holocausts are bad, yes? Okay, well then you should be against animal holocausts.
Nope, the points are not that holocausts are bad and you should be against animal holocausts. The points are firstly that what the reasons are, whether they're good or bad, etc., is orthogonal to whether the thing in question is a Holocaust. The second is that whether it's a Holocaust or not is orthogonal to what I'm asking about, which is, do you accept this large-scale slaughter of beings who are genetically slightly different but have identical consciousness to humans? Devin, some of us actually care about having a clear conversation and, communicating, not just talking fancifully, actually making logically coherent, points, right? Some of us care about that. You don't. That's fine. I do. First, which I really don't care to debate this.
I don't care to debate it. Then why are you on an AMA harassing a dude, some meat eater, about why he eats meat?
I don't accept the use of the word harassment there. I don't accept the use of the word harassment there. But yeah, I mean, it's possible to have a conversation and to think, well, these are threads in the conversation that I don't really care about defending. I just, felt it would be worth mentioning. These are the threads that I care about defending. I mean, if this is confusing to you, I just don't know. I mean, you're beyond help. Maybe I'll give an analogy like I did with the soda cans. Maybe that helped you out earlier, okay? Maybe you're talking to your friend about whether it was smart for him to get in a fight at the bar. And maybe, you could also point out, hey, wait, when you said you were wearing a jean jacket, you weren't. You were actually, wearing a leather coat, right? You might say, like, that was worth mentioning because he said something wrong when he said he was wearing the jean jacket. But I don't really care about defending that. The thing I really care about is, was it actually a good idea to get in the bar fight? This shouldn't be confusing.
That's called you debating him.
As long as you understand that me debating him in no way entails that I should be committed to defending every random thread that comes up in the conversation, right? You might be interested in debating someone about whether it was a good idea to get in the bar fight. You might point out that, hey, actually, you weren't wearing the jean jacket, you were wearing the leather jacket, and not care about defending that because the core thing that you want to argue about is, was it a good idea to get in the bar fight? This really is not confusing. It's not important to me.
If it's not important to you, why are you there?
Are you just not tracking the conversation, Devin? The thing that I said is not important to me is the first point that I mentioned, which is just a little, side point to note. It's just that whether the reasons are good or bad or whatever, that's just orthogonal to whether the mass slaughter and destruction is a Holocaust, right? It's just a thing to note. It's not something I really care about getting in the weeds on. So if I'm not interested in that, why am I there? Well, obviously because I'm interested in discussing the other shit, right? It's like, if you're not interested in arguing whether he was wearing the leather jacket or the jean jacket, why do you want to discuss whether getting in the bar fight was a good idea? It's like, well, obviously one's of interest to me and one isn't. But you're not going to find anything in the definition of Holocaust about...
You're a goddamn cunt.
In the definition of Holocaust about, reasons, right?
Yeah, you're not going to find anything on Holocaust about reasons except for it's all over the place. Namely, it mentions the mass murder of Jews.
Well, that's just an obvious equivocation. He's equivocating between the definition that I'm referring to and some other definition.
And historically, there was a reason for that. So why do you think the Jews, the Nazis, are in the definition of Holocaust?
They're in a definition. They're not in the definition that I'm using.
The dude is literally wasting everyone's time being obtuse about the fact that Holocaust is referencing the genocide of Jews during Nazi Germany. But no, Isaac, I guess it doesn't mean that. So I guess if I asked 99 out of 100 people what the Holocaust is, and their answer would include that very thing, but I guess that's just a mistake. That's an accident. Yeah, probably if I asked 100 people, what is the Holocaust? They'd be like, oh, it's what's happening to the cows right now. You're a cunt, dude.
No, I wouldn't say that Holocaust does not mean the killing of Jews, gypsies, gays, etc. by the Nazis. That is a definition of Holocaust. I think that if you were to actually show people the dictionary definition and ask if slaughter or destruction on a mass scale is a Holocaust, they would probably say yes, Devin. What I care about is that I'm using language in a way that's correct with respect to the dictionary. You haven't shown me that I'm not doing that. Like a Holocaust is slaughter or destruction on a mass scale. Capital H Holocaust, that's like the Jewish Holocaust.
There's no capital H, lowercase h. No, there's Holocaust. Look how he's diving in. Let's slice into the word Holocaust. It's my key ingredient to winning people over and making them vegans.
Well, again, he's claiming that my whole purpose here is to, make people go vegan. Again, I'm not in these conversations thinking in terms of vegan activism. And, with the Holocaust capital H thing, I mean, look, Devin, if you want to take on a position of proper noun denial, you're welcome to. But if you just, look up the Holocaust, you'll notice that it's capitalized when they're referring to what happened in Nazi Germany. The Nazi Holocaust wasn't just Jews killed, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. You know that there were more than Jews killed in the Holocaust? Oh, Isaac. It's almost like you went to college, but you didn't.
But you're not going to find anything about reasons. So you're trying to disqualify the animal Holocaust as a Holocaust.
The animal Holocaust is like a thing. So him in his bubble is an accepted phrase. The animal Holocaust. Oh, okay. What? Christ. He doesn't understand diddly dick.
Caused by appealing to something that's not even in the definition. But I don't even care about that. That's just one point. Let me make the other point. Please.
You're so charming, Isaac. You're winning over Coach Red Pill. I think he's about to break. Shame him about being pro-Holocaust again.
Again, he keeps assuming that my motive is to persuade Coach Red Pill. No idea why. Very strange.
It's working so far.
Please.
You're using the term
1 second. Let me
to
make the other point.
divorce the reason. No. If you
that
are gonna
point
put
isn't
this
that
into this
important.
It's that point isn't that important, then why have you harped on it the whole time? You started by saying, hey, you're against Holocaust, right? Okay, what about the animal Holocaust? That's your whole point. And now he's like, oh, it's not important, whatever, move on.
Yeah, what's most important to me is not getting Red Pill to understand that it's a correct usage of the term Holocaust with respect to the dictionary to refer to what we're doing to animals as a Holocaust. What is more important to me here is to actually get his reply to my question about whether it would be ethical to Holocaust genetically modified humans with identical consciousness. Technically, that wouldn't be humans, but you know what I mean. That's just a semantic.
Yes, it is.
It's just semantics. Yeah, it's just semantics. Manslaughter, murder, premeditated murder. It's just words. What is the big deal with words?
Yeah, I mean, I would just reiterate what I said before. It's not as important to me to get Red Pill to agree that it's a proper use of the word Holocaust with respect to the dictionary to refer to what we're doing to animals as a Holocaust. What's way more important to me is to get an answer to the question that I'm trying to ask, the main question, right? Which is, would he accept the Holocaust, or if he doesn't like the word, we can just call it the, mass slaughter of beings who are, just genetically modified slightly from humans and can't interbreed or whatever and have identical consciousness.
Is if you're addressing it. So I'm going to respond.
I can just say
He's just obstinate. He's just dumb. He's just talking over people because he's performing for his audience. He's posting this shit up at his channel, no matter what.
No, I'm not talking over someone to perform. Again, just another false reading of what's going on. See, I think if I had to guess, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that Devin's dislike for me is causing him to, just project these weird fucking things into my head that aren't going through my mind. I'm not sitting there thinking about performing. I'm just trying to get a fucking answer to the question. That's all I'm focused on. Well, I can just say instead of Holocaust, let's just replace it with the meaning.
Okay, this is boring.
Well, instead of
this is dull. This is dull and boring.
Yeah, I think. Why don't we?
I think that
Well, wait a sec, Red Pill. I think you're not able to address my critique.
Oh yeah, he can't address it. It's impossible. I win. I win because I declared I won. And that is number 2, you can't defend your position.
Yeah, I think that he can't defend his position. I also think that you can't defend your position. The fact that you're mocking the idea of being critical of someone for being unable to defend their position is just hilarious to me. And, if you want to not bitch out and come into a VC, I'm happy to, give you an opportunity to defend your position anytime, or we can do it in person. I can easily get to Toronto. It's not far from here. I go through all the time. I think that I've got you in the corner and you don't know how to reply.
Sure. Okay, fine.
Uh-oh, look what just came on screen. The vegan agenda. That's right. There was a fan of mine. He had breached their security, I guess. I don't know. He's behind enemy lines.
There's 2 points being made.
2 points, guys. It's a 2-point plan. Okay? If you agree with point 1, and you have to because it's just true, then I will present to you point 2, and point 2 is rock solid, and at point 3 is you're a vegan.
That's not accurate. Obviously, point 3 is just made up. Yeah, it's true that I'll present point 2 after point 1, but it's not actually true that I need you to agree with point 1 before I present point 2, because I'm not that concerned about point 1. Remember, point 1 I'm just kind of mentioning for the sake of it. I don't really want to get way into it. It's not that important, right? I really want to get to point 2, whether you agree with point 1 or not.
So 1, 2, 3, you're a vegan. Simple as that, guys. 2 points. Come on now.
So the first is that when you say, Holocaust has reasons in the definition, then try to disqualify the animal Holocaust as a Holocaust.
I said that.
You're just trying to avoid letting me make the point. I'm trying to get the point across. Red Pill, right? I'm just pointing out that's not in the definition. It is a Holocaust by the definition.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so that would just be dictionary denial. We know full well what definition I'm referring to. The definition I'm referring to is destruction or slaughter on a mass scale. Clearly, what we're doing to animals is destruction or slaughter on a mass scale. Therefore, it's the case that what we're doing to animals fits the definition that I'm using of Holocaust. My word usage is correct with respect to the dictionary. If you care about word usage being correct with respect to something else, then you'd have to convince me to care about that in this instance, because currently I don't. But if you don't like the word, we can just replace it with what I mean to say, what I take Holocaust to mean, which is just destruction or slaughter on a mass scale.
Slaughter on a mass scale, yes, we agree. It's for the harvesting of meat. There is a purpose to it, a valid purpose, unlike the killing of innocent human beings, who are not eaten, they're dumped in mass graves.
Right? Well, when you say it's valid, you're just begging the question against name the trait, right? I keep trying to find out if it's actually valid on your view, and you give traits that result in positions that you won't accept, right? So when you just assert that it's valid, it's like you're implying that you can get around that line of reasoning when it doesn't appear you can. So you're just begging the question against that line of reasoning. It's like you're starting from the assumption that that reasoning is not problematic for your view, but you haven't actually shown us that you can get around it. Now, the second and far more important point is that you didn't actually address my question.
Because the framing of the question was not valid. That's like saying, have you stopped beating your wife? Wait a minute. First of all, I'm not married. Second of all, I didn't beat my wife to start with. No, just answer the question, dude. The question.
Well, no, I don't accept that the question is loaded, and I pointed this out in two ways, right? Firstly, I pointed out that according to the definition that I'm using, it is a Holocaust, right? So that's one way of diffusing the assertion that, the question's loaded. And then secondly, I pointed out, although Red Pill kept talking over me, that if he's gonna, be a stick in the mud about the word, then that's fine, right? Because I am too, so we're not gonna get anywhere on that. I'll just replace the word with the meaning that I take that word to represent, which is destruction on a mass scale, right? So the question has been unloaded in two ways. Firstly, by explaining that according to a given definition, it is a Holocaust. And then secondly, by saying even if you don't accept that term, I can replace that term with what I take the definition of that term to be, right? You just started to say it's not a Holocaust. The question that I asked was, what is it that's true?
Oh, we're back to Nam Trat.
True of animals, that if true of humans would cause you to say that it would be ethical to Holocaust?
Well, if humans were animals with low brain function and we needed to eat, then it would probably be moral.
Okay, so we have a 3-trait combo there. So being animals, having low brain function, and needing to eat. Okay, so 2 of those things actually aren't differential properties, right? Humans and animals are both animals, so that's actually a category error to name as a trait. That we need to eat, that's true of animals and that's true of humans, right? So that's also not a differential property, so that's a category error. So then the only trait that we're actually left with is lower intelligence, and that's going to result in the disabled Holocaust reductio. I mean, he's just fucking terrible at this. He'd get wrecked in a debate, can't defend his position at all. He knows it, he'll posture a bunch, but come on guys, this is just obvious garbage. I'd fucking yeet this guy.
Kind of like it was moral when those plane crash survivors decided to consume the flesh of some of the dead people.
Well, now you're talking about needing to eat meat to survive. First, you just said needing to eat, right? Needing to eat is not a differential property. That's just true of humans and animals. So that doesn't even qualify as something you can name the trait. If you want to say needing to eat meat to survive, I mean, that's just not a property that's true of, the animals that we're eating, like cows or, pigs or whatever, or of humans, right? So saying needing to eat, that's a category error because it's true of humans and animals. Saying needing to eat meat to survive, that's a category error because it's not true of humans or animals. So neither of those are actually options to you when you try to name the trait.
Not something that they would usually do, but out of necessity, there was a practical reason for them to do that. But once again, he's playing with the totally retarded point, which is he's trying to eradicate the differences between animals and human beings.
That's false. Again, my view is that there are some shared properties and there are some properties that aren't shared.
And this stupidity is on repeat. It goes over and over again. He never learns anything because he is retarded. The dude is incapable of seeing what a dumb fuck he is.
Or if you want me to replace the word with slaughter them on a mass scale, I can do that.
I answered your question. I said the animals aren't humans.
Yes, exactly. There's a difference. No. But let's pretend like they were the same. Come on.
Right. So then again, I would not claim that they're the same. I would claim that there are some shared properties and some unshared properties. Very, very basic concept, Devin. Shouldn't be that hard for you to get. And do you remember my follow-up to that? I'm sorry, I should have said the follow-up and not the initial question.
You said, and then you tried to sort of say, okay, so where is the line where on the sliding scale, on the gray scale, from humans to animals?
Well, wait 1 second. So let's just clear something up. So I actually said something out of order there. I backed up one question before the question I had you at. So
I mean, do you hear the way he thinks? And he operates, he is socially inept. He's like, there was an order. So the question number 1 was here, and then there was question 2, and then the premise and the thing.
Well, no, that's false. There's no premise, right? There hasn't been an argument delivered at any point so far.
What are you doing, dude? Get laid.
The
Okay,
question
do I have
had
to
you
keep
at-
on listening to this guy because he's boring?
Tell me about it.
1 second. The question
We can
really boring.
We can sorry Isaac.
Yeah, can you mute
is
him?
that
Another victory for veganism. We should all be so thankful that Isaac is leading the charge.
Because
Doobie talking?
he keeps on.
yeah,
he
that's
keeps
me.
Was that
on,
Doobie? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me. Hi.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think
Can I get a last? Can I get a last
dull as
word in
fuck.
here?
You know, thank you.
Sorry, Isaac. I don't think he's
No.
interested in
No,
the conversation.
Okay,
just
well,
mute
I
him because
I'm
he's
just gonna,
dull as
just gonna
fuck.
try.
Mute that clout-chasing nerd.
All right, so you purposely go after people with a large platform to get your vegan message out there?
That is part of what I do, yeah. Now, just in case anyone thinks that there's a bit of a contradiction here, because I'm saying to Sinatra, by the way, go watch that debate if you want to see Sinatra get fucking stomped. Someone might think there's a contradiction because I'm saying there that, yeah, like, part of why I do this is to get my vegan message out there, and then I'm saying when I'm talking to AIU, like, well, you know, I mean, that's not high on my priority list. So doing vegan activism is not really, like, high on my priority list. Getting my vegan message out there, which I kind of just take to mean my content, that is on my priority list. It's a bit higher. It's still probably not at the top, to be honest, but it's there. So, slight difference.
Okay. That makes sense. You're just a fucking number chaser. All right.
Well, wait, what's the negativity there about wanting to get out to as many people as I can?
No, you just want to use other people's platforms instead of building one for yourself.
Sinatra, did I host you on my channel when I had more subs than you?
Yeah, but not by much.
Yeah,
You
but
had like
right, but
18 and I had 15.
but just to be
But not that big of a deal.
but
And you
okay,
still have 18 and I have 180. So.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to acknowledge when someone does better on YouTube. You know, good for you for doing well, honestly. But the point I was making there is just that it's not as if the only thing I care about here is the number of views that the person I'm talking to has, right? I'll talk to people who have smaller platforms than I do. Just saying.
But no, you literally just said you go after people purposely with a bigger platform.
That is one of the things that I do, but that doesn't mean that I'll exclusively talk to people with bigger platforms.
I don't know about that. Your
Well,
fucking Twitter profile says that you're like boasting that Devin Tracy won't talk to you.
Oh, yeah, Devin is horrified to debate me.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very scared.
Well, he knows that I'll wreck him just like I wrecked you, right? You ended up saying it's fine to Holocaust the disabled. You think people are going to agree with that? Try to
He
get
just
a
wants to
last
monopolize
word
the conversation, and yeah, he wants the last word. And okay,
Well,
I'll tell you
I
the
think
two
that you're
things
just
he's
not
doing.
replying to the critique, right? So
Yeah, you can't defend your position, dude. Reply to the critique. Shut up.
I'm just saying.
Okay,
I
so can I
accidentally-
answer?
Let's be clear about what the critique is. I accidentally backed up one step too far, so I backed up to the initial question, which is what's the difference that makes it ethical to Holocaust one, but not.
Oh, we're back to the word Holocaust. I thought you had yielded on that point. I thought it was mass slaughter, and that you realized that there's a problem with calling it a Holocaust because it is not one.
Oh, I certainly didn't yield it. It's correct with respect to the dictionary. To deny that is simply dictionary denial, which I think is absolutely insane. What I did do was offer to just replace the term with the meaning of the term, which, you know, I could actually do verbally when I speak, or he could just understand that when I'm using that term, what I'm referring to is slaughter on a mass scale.
But that was the definition. Words only mean what we all agree they mean. And the word Holocaust, we all agree, means the slaughter of humans. So you cannot piggyback on the connotation of the word Holocaust and apply it to your cause and think that you've done something.
Well, I think that what a word means is going to really be about what the person means when they say the word, right? That word could be interpreted in certain ways by people, but what is meant, that is determined by what the individual, what their intentions are when using the word, right? So if I say waffle, but what I'm trying to communicate about is a crowbar, I think that what I mean is crowbar, right? Easy way to think about this is like, if you're really drunk and you're trying to refer to like your girlfriend and you accidentally call her by some other name or something like that, you mean to refer to your girlfriend. You don't mean to refer to Charisse, right? If we take your kind of view, then you have to say that in that situation, you mean Charisse. I mean, that seems weird to me. It seems like the person is trying to refer to their girlfriend. So I don't share that view that meaning is like actually referring to how other people interpret what someone's saying. I think that meaning refers to what an individual intends when uttering something.
It is a shambolic, low IQ move that anyone could see through.
Okay, I'm gonna hang
We
up.
were
and I'm
actually
gonna leave
one
this
question
AMA.
past that. We were
Maybe.
actually one question past that.
Shut up with the fucking order of your questions. You are literally autistic.
At
Isaac,
the
yeah, I
reductio
think-
on your answer to the question.
Isaac, I
Control
think.
this AMA.
So-
Control
Right.
it. Control
Yeah,
it.
Isaac, sorry, I think we
Because
gotta.
this guy-
Okay,
because
Red
this
Pill,
guy
I think you
is-
have no
is-
argument.
And so what you're witnessing right here is every conversation he has on this ends up with this level of frustrating back and forth. He doesn't know how to talk to people.
Well, I think that's completely false. I have plenty of great conversations about veganism, as anyone who, spends time in the Discord would know, or even anyone who's just aware of my debate history. I talk to some people who have very different views, like JF, for example, right? You're never going to hear me and JF yelling at each other or getting mad or talking over each other, except in a very, cordial way. It's because despite how much we disagree, there's no effort to, mislead in our conversations, right? I'm just asking him what he thinks, he's asking what I think, we go back and forth, it's easy, right? Same kind of thing, generally speaking, with someone like Destiny. There's lots of people who have different values but will still have an honest conversation. Now, I should add, I think that Destiny and JF both kind of bullshit about what their values are, but they're honest in the sense that they don't try to deny what their values entail. Right? So it's not like I'm sitting there saying, your view entails this, and they're going, oh, no, it doesn't, and I have to be like, stop trying to get away from the point. Like, that doesn't happen, right? Because they're not trying to be evasive and Weasley. So, no, I have plenty of great conversations. They go this way when I'm dealing with a Weasley person.
He is uncharitable.
I don't see where I've been uncharitable in this conversation at all.
He's obnoxious. He's stupid. He's repetitive. He's pointless. He's wrong.
Also not clear what I'm wrong about.
I mean, it's just amazing.
You said, I'm a subjectivist, but there's something that's objectively wrong, right? And then the third contradiction is that the trait is the inability to create, yet it's not the case that it's ethical to Holocaust the people who aren't able to create. So now we're back to my line of questioning, aren't we, Sinatra? What's the trait? What's true of animals that if true of humans?
The trait that distinguishes you.
No. See, you don't understand how I work, Sinatra, okay? I'm happy to let you ask questions when you're not dodging a line of questioning. No. I don't humor dodging, right? No. Slow down. What you said earlier was that the trait is the inability to create, right? So we have disabled people who can't create to any greater degree than a cow. You said it was fine to Holocaust those people. You stop. You said it's stop. Right, now you said now. You said that it's the case that if there's a disabled person...
He's a fucking asshole. Holy...
Now, I haven't addressed, 99% of the ad homs, but for some reason I just feel compelled to address this one. I mean, I am a bit of an asshole. I don't care about these people's feelings. I just care about... Well, I mean, again, I don't always know exactly what I care about. Motives are a weird thing, but I care more about shit like getting to the truth. I'm not going to play nice with someone who's being a weasel. So, yeah, I mean, I would just own that. I definitely have no problem being an asshole when it's needed. And arguably, it's not being an asshole if you're doing it when someone's doing this shady shit to you. I'll also point out, I think that that's Devin genuinely laughing, right? I mean, talk all the shit you want, but you're getting some value out of the content yourself, aren't you? To the question.
Isaac, I
Control
think.
this AMA. Control it. Control it.
Yeah, Isaac,
Okay.
sorry, I think we gotta.
Okay,
Because
Red
this
Pill,
guy
I think you
is-
have no
is-
argument.
Yeah, Red Pill, you have no argument. Great. He declared it, so I guess it's true.
Well, I just said that it's what I think. I'm just saying that that's my belief, and it seems that way because he couldn't give any kind of argument for his position.
Ironically, his argument that Red Pill has no argument is not an argument.
Well, yeah, it's just a proposition that I believe. I'm not making an argument at this point. And really, what I should have said to Red Pill is that he wasn't able to address the critique, which I said a lot of other times. I shouldn't have said you don't have an argument because he could address the critique without giving an argument, right? He could have just, answered the question successfully. So the criticism from me shouldn't be you can't give an argument. So I'll give Devin a slight point there, but what I mean to say is Red Pill couldn't address the critique.
But yeah, there's no way to beat the dude. I mean, come on. He said Holocaust. He said Nam Trat. I mean, bro, He murked you, man.
I think you're
Typical
not able to address the
vegan and
confusion.
communist, okay?
I'm not a communist. Why would you think I'm a communist?
They keep on going
You can't
on
address the
and
critique.
on and on.
The guy is a fucking moron.
Hey, Red Pill, answer the question. Do you
This is
think
just
it's
so annoying.
ethical?
Okay,
do you
I'm
think
gonna
it's
answer
ethical to
both
Holocaust
sides.
everyone if we all
Because
do
the
them
guy
genetically?
is a fucking
Same minds,
moron
ethical to Holocaust
who
then?
doesn't
He went back to Holocaust. You just hear this little limp bitch in the background, just in northern Canada, talking about Holocaust? Holocaust. Shut up. No one cares.
Well, that's false. I'm not in northern Canada.
want me to answer. He just wants to score points, okay? And the
Oh,
fact
then
is,
you
at the
did me.
very beginning of the conversation, he said, I don't want to, like, you know,
And it's over. That's how it ended. Wow. Jesus. It is such a trash fire. My lord. I am very happy to have brought that to you. Isaac predictably will do a 5-hour stream reacting to all the points in order. Here's point. What do you put? Isaac, you're a fucking loser. Give up. Goodbye. I've spoken.
Well, right now we're sitting at about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's actually a pre-recorded video, not a stream, but the bigger point is just that, yeah, I'm going to wreck everything you said point by point, as I think I've done nicely here. Devin, if you decide to uncuck from the shadows and you want to have a debate, either in person if you're in Toronto, or just online, I'm easily reachable. I'm sure you'll, hide in fear, whatever, but, offer remains open. If you guys like watching me destroy stupid shit like this, then consider supporting on Patreon. Links down below. There's also merch, Teespring, PayPal. Help a brother out. Okay. That's all for today. Till next time.